everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to discuss volume of a pyramid. So a pyramid is a three-dimensional object. So it has 3D. So it has three dimension. It has a base of a polygon. So a polygon. And lateral face of triangle. Now, as you can see, this is a lateral face, this is a lateral face, and then there's another lateral face at the back. And this is now your base. So that is now a polygon, which is, we call this is a triangular pyramid. Now, another part of this one is known as the vertex, or in some other reference, we call that as apex. The apex is the endpoint of all the lateral faces. As you can see, this here would be its point. Now, when we talk about volume, it encapsulates now the three dimension. That's why it's important to look at now the three dimension, such as the length, width, and height of the three-dimensional object. However, when we look at now this one, the length and the width are here at the base, and then the height is here. So that's how you look at now a pyramid. Now, a pyramid has a proportion of 1/3 of the volume of a percent. So, it goes with the base times height. So, this is now the volume of a pyramid. It is just a 1/3 because when you make this a, what we call a prism, you can fill in the prism 3 times of the volume of the pyramid. Now, let's have some exploration. Now, remember that the volume is equal to the 1/3 of the base and the height. Remember, we denote that as the area of the base, and the h denoted by the height of the pyramid. Now, as you can see, what is the volume of the pyramid? Now, given this illustration, the base is 10 centimeters squared and the height is 12 centimeters. Now, solving that, let's have now volume. Once again, it's 1/3 of the base and height. Now, volume would be equal to 1/3. Substituting now the 10 centimeter and then the 12. Now, the way to look at that is that we cancel now 3 to the 12, and this would be 4. So volume would be equal to 10 times 4, this would be 40 cubic centimeter as the unit of measurement. So that is now how you get now the volume of a pyramid. Now let's go on another problem. This is now the other problem. What is the volume of the pyramid if the base is 4 square centimeter and the height is 5 centimeter? Now, once again, let's look at that as 1/3 of the base and height. Remember that the base is 4 square centimeter and the height is 5 meters. Now, they have on the same unit of measurements, and we don't have any problem with that. So 1/3, and then the base would be 4 and the height would be 5. 4 times 5, that would be 20 over 3. Remember that there's over 1, so 1 times 4 times 5, that's 20. 3 times 1 times 1, that is 3. Now, dividing that, 20 divided by 3, that would be 6, because there's 18, the remainder of 2, that would be 6.66, 2 decimal places. So, we have now 6.66 cubic meters. Let's go on another problem. So, the question is, what is the volume of a regular triangular pyramid if the side of the regular triangle is 16 centimeter and then the height is 12 centimeter? Now, if we would look at that, we're given a formula of that, 0.43 square centimeter. Now, let's look at now here. Let me just insert an image. So it's much easier for us to visualize. This one. Okay, let me just grab this one. Okay, now when you talk about now a regular triangular pyramid, now it means that all the sides of the bases are the same. So this is now your S, S, and then S, and then the broken line going to the center of that base is known as the height. Now, we were given that our side is 16 square centimeter and this 12 centimeter. Now, we can have now the volume would be equal to 1/3 of the base and then height. However, our base would be looking like 1/3 times 0.43, and then we have now our S squared and then height. So if we have those things, we can now substitute now our value. Volume would be equal to 1/3, 0.43, and then our S is 16, and then this are 12. However, this should be squared. Now it's much easier to cancel this one. This would be 4. So 16 times 16, that is 256. So you have now 0.43, then 256. Multiply that by 0.43, and the volume would be equal to 110.08 cubic centimeter. And that is now our volume of the regular triangular pyramid. Now let's have another one. Okay. Oops. Let me go back to that. Let me undo that. Okay. What is the base area if the volume is 30 cubic meter and the height is 60 meter? Now, remember, we can still use now the volume is equal to 1/3 and then base and then height. Substituting all the values that we know, that is the volume which is 30 is equal to 1/3, and we don't know the volume, so we remain as B, and then this would be 6. We can cancel this out. This would be 2. So it will lead us to 30, then 32B. Then dividing both hands side by 2. So we have now 15 as our base. So therefore, our final answer will lead us to 15. B would be equal to 15 square meter as the base area of the pyramid. Okay. Another problem that we do have here is that, how about if we're talking about the height? Again, working with the volume is equal to 1/3, and then this would be base, height. So once again, substituting the values that we do know, which is 42, is equal to 1/3, and then base, oops, the base is 2, and then the height is the unknown. Another technique is that we can now multiply both sides by 3. So multiplication property of equality. So 3 times 42, that would be 6, and then that would be 126, right? So we have now 2h, and then divide both hands side by 2. So that would be 63 is our height. So our height would be equal to 63 centimeter. That's it. So hoping this video would help you in finding the volume of a pyramid. Thanks for watching this video. Have a great day.